countdown has been taken care of. Hello and welcome to Vaidya's Chess Hub. And I am sure that the above 1400 guys, well, they must be feeling pretty confident right now because we've had some wonderful surprise sessions, much needed rest. So we are going to go for some interesting and tricky positions for today. Welcome to all those who have just joined in. I believe that Chinmay is the one to join us. The latest is Bihang. Hello and welcome. For all positions, we'll have 3 minutes, and I want you to utilize those 3 minutes, not get into some hasty decisions. I want you to calculate the answer. I want you to calculate it entirely with the variations. 3 minutes per positions. We'll try to roughly do 20 positions correctly. The difference is that I'm logged in my ID today. So the puzzles will definitely be well and truly about 2300. Jay, if you are with us, well, you can keep the scores. He always does that. You can type your individual score. And let's say if you are not able to calculate the entire variation, we can deduct half a point. Be honest about it. So here is the first position. It is going to be white to play. And let's take a look at the material count here. Queens for both, two rooks for both. I believe all minor pieces for black, but then there is a knight less for white, but still white's winning here. Black's king doesn't look in a great position, so we must utilize that fact. The light colors are totally dominated by white pieces here. And a big hello to Granth, who has joined in. Kavish, who's here with us now. Chinmay, I believe Hitesh was here already. So now this is where I really want you to come true on my expectations. They are all interesting positions today, and there are mixed motifs. So it's not just the back rank, just the checkmate into, nothing like just the pin. They are assorted positions, let's say. So this is your first position. I'm going to leave you in company of some good music, and I will see you at the end of approximately 3 minutes. All the best. Okay, so Vihang has done some calculation. According to Vihang, says that knight c3. If the king remains on the d file, then rook d1. So he suggests that knight c3 is a good move, and then we can pin the queen if the king stays on the d file. And if king c6, then bishop b5 check. If king b6, bishop e3, then again the queen will be pinned. And if the king goes back to the d file, then again rook d1. So the first move is knight c3. It looks like a quiet move, is it not? Yeah, it does look like a quiet move. Guys, it's very important. So according to Vihang, it is knight to c3 as the first move. You have to bear in mind that white is a piece down here. That is the most important thing that you cannot forget. We are a piece down here already. If you don't play accurately, well, it's end of the game for us. So what's the idea of knight c3? Rook d1. Pinning the queen is the idea. So knight c3, bishop takes g5, rook d1. Still doesn't save the queen. Wonder. Does everyone agree with what Vyang said? Why do I have only one entry there? What's Chinmay doing? Huh? What's Jay doing? What is Saumitra doing? What is Granth doing? I have given you enough time to calculate something. What do you think? Is Vihang and myself only going to be on the scoreboard? You're all going to start with 0 out of 1 and you'll always trail by 1. I told you today we are not going to. Well, last time we had real fun with this. We were easy positions and we went for 100 positions in an hour. I'm not going to do 100. Hey, Vyang, please do convey our birthday wishes on behalf of the entire Vaidya Chess Hub. Very happy birthday. Okay? Yes, you can. You can leave early. No problem. We understand that. And please communicate our birthday wishes. So Chinmay says knight c3 looks fine for me as well. He says because if you start with bishop e6, there's no real gain here because bishop to e6 check, king d8. What are you going to do? Jai, however, thinks that maybe it's queen e6 check. Jai, you cannot just be typing the first move. If you say it is queen e6 check, the black plays something, Jai. Now what does black play? Let's say king e8 or king d8 rather. King d8 is much better. So then the bishop is attacking our queen. And then what do? We cannot just type queen e6 check. 3 minutes and you end up only with one move. That's not fair. You must have done some calculation about what you will do, how your opponent will respond. Imagine you are playing a game here. I don't care about the right answer or the wrong answer. Imagine you were playing a game here. And then you would have to move. It is your move. It is white to play. You would do something, right? I'm sure you're not going to resign here. So doesn't matter right answer, wrong answer. Saumitra, hope to get an answer from you soon. And by the way, in absence of Vihang, Saumitra, the added burden will be, the onus will be on your shoulders then. Okay. So that's it. I think I'm going to have to play now. That's it. No answer from, Hitesh. No answer from Grunt. No answer from Kavish. I'm surprised. And Jai has not been able to find what after queen e6. So here is the question. I mean, if queen e6 is the first move, what do you do after king d8? Then the bishop starts attacking our queen. What have we achieved by that? The knight is not hanging. There's bishop support. The bishop itself isn't hanging. The queen support. So what is it that you were doing? Okay. Yes, it is tough. Hitesh is right. It is tough. That there is no doubt about. I'm going to go with knight c3 though. Okay. And that is indeed the best move. And we all thought about this. In fact, when I did this calculation, I said bishop g5. But then rook d1 cannot be stopped. Even if you play a move like bishop d2 check, I'm going to still take with the rook. That there is no doubt about. Okay. So fantastic. First position has been solved correctly, but the credit goes to two people, me and Vihang. And that is the idea. However, let me go ahead and show you some variations. Vihang did a spectacular job with this. Let's say after knight c3, instead of bishop takes bishop, black try something outrageous like the king to c6. Well, again, then the point is that bishop b5 is a deadly check, which means that the black king will either have to come here, and then there is this bishop pin, or the king might again end up somewhere. Ooh, cannot go there as a bishop check. And again, the same idea of the rook pinning the queen. So that's the whole idea, cannot be taken. So there you go. Or if not that, if king to, what are the other options here after knight c3? Let's say, well, there's really nothing. Rook d1 just is a threat that is not, it's not possible to parry that. Yeah, I'm afraid that's all there is to it. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to move on to the next one. This one is white to play again. This is our position number 2. And I want you to take 3 minutes again. I'm going to tell you what the position is like. Queens for both is the end game. 4 pawns for white, but 5 for black. So black is a pawn up here, and we are in a check. Do not forget that. Don't just calculate and calculate and calculate and not realize that white's already in a check here. So please bear that in mind. White will win here. So I don't have to change the caption. It will remain as white to play. I'm going to leave you in company of some good music. See you at the end of 3 minutes. Well, this one does look easy, isn't it? It does look easy. It looks pretty easy, this. The main thing to note here is that we are in check, but let's not forget that even the black queen is pinned. So even after f3, black will not be able to give this check because the queen is pinned. That is why f3 is what I totally agree. And now this one. Okay, the computer wants us to play. How many people have thought about that? Do we just, have we calculated the square of the pawn? There we go. That's the square of the pawn. Now what do we do here? The king is in the square of the pawn, mind you. The king is in the square of the pawn here. So guys, it's a very important move now. It is a very important move now. Let's see how many people actually understand this. It's a very important move now. Take a look at the square I have drawn. And you have to realize the importance of this next move here. And if you get that, believe me, you'll be so happy. You'll be so happy. What's the only move that is not going to allow black king to enter that square? Yes, that is f4. Now watch how beautiful this move f4 really is. It will take that entry out of the question here for the black king, and enjoy the arrows, enjoy the education here. When you play f4, the black king will not be able to enter the square of the pawn, as we know, and therefore the pawn on d4 will be an absolute passer. Ooh, such a nice move. You don't want to take the pawn. Mind you, if you would have just, pushed the pawn, then the king was well in the square, so the king would have definitely captured the queen upon promotion, would not have promoted successfully. Now for the next one, I'm going to have to change the caption. This one is black to play, not white to play, guys. This one is black to play. Take a look at the position. Take a look at the material. Queens for both, a rook for both, but white has two minor pieces. Black has lead in number of pawns. Black has lot many pawns, but three of them are on the f file. Black has a lot of pawns, but three of them on the f file: f7, f6, and f4. That's the thing, and black will still go on to win this game. Okay, 3 minutes. This is our position number 3, and make sure that you utilize your thinking time. I'll leave you in company of some good music. Type the variation correctly. You cannot go wrong with the coordinates. Now you know the ABCD fairly well. What do you mean by queen f3? It cannot be that. So very, very important, guys. It's queen g2 check. Let the king take the pawn. And then there is checkmate that follows. So here we go. Queen to g2 check with the rook support. And now you want to go queen f3. Really? That's so not fair. This is checkmate. Okay, be very careful. What are you doing? For the next one, it is white to play. Let me change it to white to play again. All right, let's take a look at the material. Queens for both, two minor pieces for both, but an extra rook for black. Oh, that's something interesting. Extra rook for black, but black's king is in a very horrible position. Very horrible position. There is no doubt about that. It's just, a really bad position. How can we utilize this? 3 minutes of thinking time that you have. This is going to be our position number 4 for this evening. Take about 3 minutes. I'll leave you in company of some good music. See you at the end of these 3 minutes. this, I must say that this is fantastic. Real cool calculation this. There's no doubt about this. That's why I always say play with initiative and tempo. This is with the queen support, so king cannot take it. If at all anybody, then the bishop has to take. And the bishop is the defender of this queen. And should the sacrifice not be accepted, then queen h7 is just check and mate. Okay, fantastic, brilliant indeed. The next one is white to play. Luckily for me, I don't have to change the caption. I'll update you with what's the material count. Queens for both, rook for both, 2 minor pieces for white, but 3 for black. So these positions are interesting. You know why? Interesting because the opponent is up in material, ahead in material, and that's always something special. When your opponent is ahead in material, but you just realize that, hey, your position is totally winning, and then you find a winning move, that's something special. When you're down in material, that's why people sacrifice. That's why people play the gambit ideas, okay? They execute their plans to get lead in development or something like that. So here we have it. White is a minor piece down here, a knight down maybe, let's say a bishop down. Black has bishop pair. And does not look like black's king is in major trouble here. Does it look like that? Or is it just that black is going to just lose his bishop because it is attacked twice already? Is that okay to take the bishop? What do you think about this? I'm going to leave you as usual in company of some good music. For us, this is going to be position number 5. We are targeting 20 out of 20 today. Let's hope we get to that. Enjoy it. Okay, guys, what say with this one, huh? Queen a8 check is what Young says. Do you all agree with that? By the way, let's see if you are even able to calculate the entire thing. After Queen a8 check, Queen d8 can be utilized to block the check or something. Yeah, sure, it can be done. But then if that happens, then Queen takes d8, Bishop takes d8, Knight takes d2, we win the Rook. And after Queen a8 check, Bishop b8, then there is Rook f8. Oh, that's powerful. There is one variation, Vihang, that you are missing. After Queen a8 check, there is Queen f8. So that's the one variation that Vihang probably missed. Anybody else who's going to finish that? After Queen a8 check, Black can block the check by playing Queen f8. That's the one variation that you're missing. I repeat, after Queen a8 check, Black Queen can go back on f8, Queen f8, blocking the check. So that's the one thing that's missing. Just don't do what your seniors are doing, okay? What about this variation that I'm saying? I'll probably show it to you using arrows. What do you after Queen a8 check? But there is this defensive measure. The Queen doesn't only have the squares d8 or maybe Bishop b8 blocking it. The blue arrow is also there. What about the blue arrow after you play Queen a8 check? That's right. Then there is Bishop h7 check, which is destroying the defender. And that's why this position was so delightful. I mean, yes, Queen a8 check is a fairly easy to see position. By the way, I'm sure that some of you had calculated this, but that is not just as fruitful as something else. Oh, now this one is made easy, is it not? This one is easy. Oh, come on now. This one is easy. I'll take here as a check, and then I will be able to win the Rook. Let me show you the variation I was talking about. I thought was more interesting, which is Queen to f8. Now here exchanging the queens will yield nothing but will win the Rook, but I believe is more powerful. This is Bishop h7. And what a brutal check this is, because now you are going to drive the king away from the defenses. The queen on f8 will be hanging. Whether you take the bishop or move to h8, it doesn't really matter, okay? The better is at least you take. So that's going to result in a loss. Fantastic, guys. I'm really, really very happy. Well done so far. I'm impressed, guys. Well done. Seniors, you're doing a good job. Jay, I hope you're keeping the scores. Jay hasn't tied the score. I don't think he has. This is position number 6 for us now. It is white to play, so good for me. I don't have to change the caption. Let's look at the material. Queens for both, but white is an exchange down, but white is winning. Bishop for a Rook. White has lead in pawns. And look at that pawn on c6. Isn't that a great pawn on c6? Yeah, you bet. But then how to utilize the fact and go for a win here? I'll leave you as usual in company of some good music and see you at the end of these 3 minutes. All right, guys. The pawn promotion, something that is unstoppable in this position. I want you to realize how the rook cannot come on the c2 square because of the presence of the bishop. And also when the pawn goes to c7, the rook always on the adjoining rank, or rather adjoining file, is always useless, because then the pawn in the 7th rank controls the crucial squares. Guys, it's an important diagram to study, okay? A very, very important diagram to study. What did I say? Somebody can just go ahead and type it. When the pawn is on the 7th rank, the rook on the adjacent files becomes redundant. Very useless indeed. Of no use. Like for example, the rook on the square d2 here. It's completely ridiculous. If the pawn is on c7, the rook on d2, if the rook cannot come on c2, it's useless. Okay, I mean there's nothing you can do. Nothing. You only are able to stop the pawn if you are able to come behind the pawn. That's the thing. So well done here. Yep. So the check is the right way to go. The queens will have to be traded, and after the trade happens, now there you go, c7, and now the rook cannot come behind the pawn. And as I said, that this is a redundant rook here, will not be able to control. Even if the rook was here on b8, it would be rather b2, it wouldn't have mattered, wouldn't have been able to get to these squares. Cannot get ahead of the pawn in such positions. Okay, this is now going to be our position number 7, and it is white to play. Lucky for me, I don't have to change the caption. So let's take a look at the material. Rook for both, absence of queens. Okay, a rook for both. Looks like the position is even. Black has got 8 pawns, sorry, beg your pardon, 7 pawns, and white also has 7 pawns. So this position materially is equal. However, it's white who is going to win here. How? That's for you to find. 3 minutes. Alright, well guys, for this position, what is important to understand is the control over this square. It's very important, guys, this square. We don't want to immediately take the rook and then stop our king ourselves from coming on to this important e5 square. And if we bring our king immediately to e5, well then there is c3 check. Sorry, f6 check. What am I saying? f6 check. So we don't want any of that. So to stop that, the first thing what we may do is to get our pawn to g5. Let's see how many people agree with that. What do you have to say? The pawn control over this square f6 is so crucial. Remember, this pawn here is really weak, and we would love it if our pawn comes on c6. Well, that would be great. There's no problem with that, as I see. The only thing is we have to come at a position on e5 where we are in a position then to take the pawn. If we immediately go play king e5, well, then there is f6 check, as I said. So immediately you cannot play king e5 here. We cannot take this pawn. And if you take the rook now immediately, well, then after the pawn takes, well, still we cannot make it to this square. We are waiting for answers from seniors, but then probably Chinmay is the one to answer first here. Really, did I get the answer from Chinmay? He's saying rook takes d5, d5, c takes d6, and then c3. What? Why? f6. f6 first move. Well, okay, the idea again is the same. So Chinmay says let's take on d6, and then after c takes d3, let's push the pawn to c6. So yeah, it should be f6. Vyang agrees with Chinmay that you should first exchanges and then send the pawn there. So that, but then the point being, again, the point being, whether we do it first or after exchange of the rooks. The power over the f6 square, that was a big clue I gave you. How do you want to get there? Do you want to play f6 first, or do you want to play rook takes d6 first? That's the only question. Now, the way to win is clear. Our pawns are way advanced compared to the black pawns sitting on their second rank, okay? f6 is a more direct approach. Directly go f6 so that you gain access to this crucial e5 square. The only problem with that is after he takes and we take back, well, our opponent will have a big time majority. So he will go ahead and push and maybe create a passer for himself. That's the one thing. That's the one thing you have to calculate. I'm sure Soumitra missed that. But f6 is a direct approach. No doubt about that. But then if he exchanges, as rook takes c6 and we play b takes c6, then he will have a5 and b6. And we will only have our pawn on a4. That's the only thing to consider there. He will have a pawn majority on the queen side. I hope that you realize that. Big thing there. Guys, it's not a small thing, okay? That's a big thing there. So after the exchange, what will happen is if we exchange it, and we have fixed our pawns here, then it takes time for black to build up some kind of a counter play. So I'm going to go for the rook takes here, and then probably go for f6. The whole idea was based on we getting access to that crucial e5 square. Well, after we play f6, I think then we get the access indirectly, or even maybe we get to enter black's territory. I'm surprised there's still no takers for g5. Nobody's supporting the move g5 as I suggested. They think that let's exchange the rooks. Again, the same idea. You play g5, he takes our rook. Then again, he has this pawn majority there. So that's the main thing there. I'm going to go with the rook takes d6, and that's the best move. You see there. The question now is, the first move is out of the way, and that is the way to go. Now the question is, now I'm going to put forward two moves here, the red arrow and the green arrow, and let's see what you think now. This is important. Now we are done with the first move. I believe Soumitra, you've learned something, but you are excused. You are multitasking today, and the important thing why we are proud of you is you're taking care of your mom who is not well. So we're proud of you there. Do take care. Okay, good son. Now I'm saying, what is good now? Green arrow, right? Well, now Soumitra says, oh, after this f6, surely now f6. Oh, why? Why so much? Why so much of, consideration for the move f6? The people are like f6, go f6. That's it. That's it. f6. Yeah, sure. Guys, now if you typing f6 will not just impress me. I mean, if you play f6 now, consider what happens. What if g takes f6? Then king f5. Is that what you want? Just gobbling up the pawns. And what if black does not take it? Well, let's say black plays. Well, he will not take that, right? So g6, f6, and black plays g6. Then what? Then what do you do? And after black plays g6, you don't have king f5. Yeah, then he can push the pawn. Okay, so let me draw the arrows again. Now that everybody has said that they want the green arrow, what if black responds this way? So then king g5, king h6. So you agree with the same idea that we thought earlier? We would get around, win the pawn. Won't the black king be able to do anything at all here? Nothing at all, right? Because of our pawns that won't allow the enemy king to have any counterplay whatsoever. That's why understanding these pawn structures are so important, guys. f6 it is. Now king f5. Gobble the pawns. There we go. Next position. Well done, guys. This was really well done, okay? This was really nice. And now on to position number 8 for today. Let's take a look at the material count here. Queens for both. 2 rooks for black, but only 1 for white. 2 minor pieces for white and 3 minor pieces for black. So black has a heavy lead in material, but you all know what matters is the position. we all by now know this. The amount of material on the board, well, okay, but look at the quality of that material. So how to get the best out of this position? It's white to play. I'll leave you in company of some good music. See you at the end of these 3 minutes. Okay, well, Bihang is the first to try. Samitra has also put forward his idea. and looks interesting. Well, both of them are okay with queen f7. Their argument is that after queen f7 check if king c5, well, then there is queen c4, and we will probably be able to inflict a mate via the move knight f5. And then the other variation is after king c5. Well, there is king c5. Let's not forget that. Then there is what if there is king c5? Queen c4, again the same idea. King c6, same, and then king d6, knight f5 check comes first. So they are fairly sure that it is queen f7 that will work. The whole idea of f7 is that the queen gets control over the c4 square. Okay, with the knight's support. I think I'm going to go with that. And a big hello to Swaroop, who has just joined in. Okay, very, very good indeed. Now, king d6. What was the idea of king d6? I think it's the same idea, right? Yeah, queen d6. What's the idea? But with a different move order. So what we want to play really is knight to f5 check first. These squares are taken, and well, after this, queen to c4 will just be checkmate over here. Beautiful, very nice. This is again white to play. This one was really well done. Okay, guys, really well done. Kudos, very, very good. I'm very, very impressed. Now this one is position number 9. And well, the material count is white has a rook, black has 2 rooks. So black is rather white is an exchange down here. Pawns, 4 pawns to 4 pawns. So there's no difference there. But look at the pawn on e6 and the bishop on c4. Okay. Yes, and Vyang can be let go. Vyang, we can let you go once again. Before you leave, communicate our birthday wishes. Well, we are talking about mothers today, huh? Well, Saumitra's mother, well, we want her to get well soon. The entire hub is with her. And Vyang, well, please convey our greetings. The entire hub wishes her many happy returns of the day, okay? By the way, you didn't let me know if you had something special prepared for her. Is there any surprise party or any surprise, any gift for her? You did not reveal anything. Vyang, don't go without sharing that. I mean, come on, Vyang, how it is that you're planning to celebrate her birthday? Is there going to be a cake? Meanwhile, back to the position. Yeah, so exchange down. Oh, Vyang, now I understand why you are not saying it. Oh, mango. Oh, Amras Puri. Vyang. Man. Now, come on, people, wake up in the chat. Itesh, Granth, Saumitra. He just said Amras Puri. Oh, really? I mean, Rayansh would not have liked that. Rayansh's favorite fruit is apple. But this one, in my opinion, unbeatable. there is, I mean, and there's also red velvet cake. Okay, there's going to be a cake cutting ceremony, and there is red velvet cake. That sounds like a perfect plan, Vyang. We can let you go. But do communicate our birthday wishes. May God bless her with good health. Okay? Yes, look, Vyang, look, Swaroop is jealous from Thane. He's saying, like, why did you have to mention that? Seriously. Yeah, I mean, what can compete with that? And the red velvet cake, you know, it's just a perfect plan, perfect evening. You are going to make it special for her, Vyang. No doubt about that. Okay, fantastic. We can let Vyang go, okay? Vyang, see you soon, okay? Take care. By the way, Swaroop, now you should also, you know, come back to proper calculation mood after that Amras Puri thing. Let's calculate this. How is white going to win this position? Saumitra, now the added burden. You'll have to take that onus on your shoulders here. 3 minutes, white to play. Okay, now that's probably one difference, okay, between the calculation strengths, Swaroop. Now what you are missing is that after you have successfully pushed the king to the back rank, then you could very well go rook d8 because of this pawn. And if the rook then takes the pawn, hey, there is back rank, checkmate, you can deliver. That's probably the difference in the thought process, and I'm sure Swaroop loved this. Again, in his defense, you know what? In his defense, he was distracted by Amras Puri. I'll give that to you. Oh, I'll give that to you. Sure. But I'm just saying here that when the king is pushed, okay, to the back rank, then this makes more sense, because next move you're going to, play that with the help of the pawn support, and should the rook take it, then there are back rank issues. That's why this is much better. I'm sure Swaroop has understood this. When the king is pushed here in the corner like this, there are back rank issues. Okay. But Swaroop, it's the main thing here. That the rook is on to this d1 to d8 square. What did Soumitra type? Yeah, rook d1. What did he say then? Yeah, rook d8, rook d1 idea. Why is Soumitra wrong? Why? What did he say? Hey, Suvradas is here. Why is he wrong? Although you say, why do you think he's wrong there? He's not wrong. Okay. This is now position number 10. We are now into double digits. Welcome, Suvradas. And by the way, this is, Soumitra did say rook d1, rook d8 was the idea there. Let's look at the material here. We have gotten 9 out of 9 thus far. Jai, if you bother to type the score, please, Jai, do that. 9 out of 9, I suppose. Okay, so queens for both, 2 rooks for both, 2 minor pieces for both. So material looks okay. There are 7 pawns for black and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns for white. Okay, there is some material deficit. Although, yeah, it doesn't matter because white is going to win here. How? That's for you to find. Take about 3 minutes. Okay guys, now here is the main thing in this position. If you were thinking maybe let's play rook f5, and if the queen moves then we have the fork. Where will the queen go? Well, there is knight and bishop that can take the rook, so that won't work. But if we take this pawn with the knight, well, then the queen really is struggling. Because if the queen goes to h5, well, we can sacrifice first knight and the second one will deliver this fork. And if queen g6, well, then there is the same idea that we talked about earlier. So really, it's knight takes f5 here. Don't you think? Knight takes e4 and, knight takes e4, sorry, knight takes e4. And after knight takes e4, let's say black tries knight f3 check. Will that work? No, the king can move, right? The king has got some squares to go. Surely. Yeah, surely. So what do you think about this? I have still not played because I'm waiting for your response. Jai says I'll just be listening. Why, Jai? What's up? Suvradas, what do you think? Knight takes e4. Yeah, sure, wins. Chinmay agrees, and I'm going to continue with that. And now knight. Oh, I am happy. I am happy black didn't move the queen. Just what I had asked. Now, mind you, you don't want to take with the rook. This queen takes g2 mate. Always be alert. So got to move the king. It's a knight check. You cannot block the check. The question is where? And I believe you don't want to go here. You want to go to h1. Surely king h1. King f1. Why not king h1? Why not king h1? I'm a little surprised. Why not king h1? If we go king f1, there's again check. Guys, clarify that. If we go king f1, there's again knight h2 check. Why not go king h1 right now? The rook is there. Everything seems okay there. Or do you think king f1, king h1 really does not matter? We don't want to go wrong here. The first move is correct. I told you that. Knight takes e4 is correct. We've attacked the queen, but now knight f3 check. The pawn is pinned. So before anybody begins to question why not just take the knight with the pawn is pinned, right? So what now? King h1 or king f1? Samitra has some comments. He says, king h1, bishop takes g2, rook takes g2, queen h4. We can get into trouble. That's why he says king f1. This is beautiful bishop sacrifice that can, really trouble us. So bishop g2 check, rook takes g2, and then there is queen h4 check, and then king g1. There could be mate on h2. So he says king f1 is the better choice, shown by the green arrow. So let's do that. I was saying that if king h1, then what would have happened is this. Now you really have no option other than to take the bishop because this is covered by knight. So after this, well, now you have this h4 check. And notice how this knight is really controlled g1. So whether, what happens next is checkmate. It doesn't really matter. So such small things, and you have to calculate. Suvradas, let me know if you enjoyed this position, man. This was awesome, this position. Guys, this will be our last position. So I think we are at 10 out of 10. Can we stop here? It's 10 out of 10. We have got about 4 minutes. Guys, we have got 4 minutes. What should we do here? I'm a little tempted. I am already logged in. Why don't I go for 2 bullet games? Let me just play 2 bullet games for fun. It's no point doing another position. We are already 10 out of 10 and I am happy. Okay. So let's go for a bullet game. 1 plus 0 is what I'm going to play. It is tough. I know when I stream it is tough. But that's all time we have. 4 minutes, right? 4 minutes. Let me just go ahead and select some games here. First game is what I'll abort just to make sure that the settings are right. So I have to adjust the settings, by the way. Kindly cooperate. I'm just adjusting the settings here. It's important, guys. It's important. Just fixing leeches because the window changes and we really have to now go into that game mode. Yeah, now we have it. Let me just fit it properly. We are going to play a couple of bullet games. 2 games. Doesn't matter what the result, okay? Does not matter what the result. That's all time we have for today. And we'll stop after that. We have games at hand. It's not white to play. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, so let me go ahead and start another game. One plus 0 it is, and I have the white pieces. And the Alakine against me. Interesting setup. Very, I should say. Of course, this one goes. Now this is tricky. I'm turning his bishop into a bad bishop here, okay? I am really turning this into a bad bishop here. Oh, what's that now? What's that doing there? So there's this check here. And I have to take. Okay. Check now. Pawn spin. Check now. Okay. Doesn't matter. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is getting irritating, sir. Now he has given me a chance. Big time, right? Big time, right? Okay. Oh, what did I do? Oh, what did I do? There was this queen. Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. There was this queen. And I should have taken that at least. No way, man. No. We had this game. Happens. Look at the difference. 7 seconds is the difference. One last game. Happens. By the way, I'm still about 2000, yeah, 2015. Black pieces. Let's hope for a win here. What? Why? Why? Why was that? He was 1955. Could have played better than that. 1955, huh? Could have played better than that. Okay, we'll stop for now. One win, one loss. The first one was also our game, man. We had beautiful chances, but we allowed that bishop b2 check. We'll calculate that later. All right, we'll stop. We'll meet tomorrow. The session for tomorrow is for the session is for the under 1400, and we will continue. I believe for the last time we'll have checkmate in two. For one last time we'll deal with checkmate in two. Meanwhile, once again, happy birthday to Vihang's mom, and well, Amras Puri. Well, they're going to enjoy good food, and also Saumitra, well, do take care of your mom, and we hope for a speedy recovery. We'll meet again soon. Take care. Bye bye.